Out of order, can I get roll call, please?
Mayor Gerardo Sanchez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Matias Rosales,
Present.
Councilmember Mario Buchanan Jr.,
Present.
Councilmember Luis Cabrera,
Present.
Councilmember Africa Luna Carrasco,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Ponce, Councilmember Gloria Torres.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This is a work session, so we're going to go ahead and proceed with the items for discussion. Discussion and possible item number 2A, discussion and possible action or direction of staff on any matters regarding updates on the business and beautification program. Johnny Torres.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I wanted to give you an update on the status of this program. First of all, after evaluating all the issues in terms of using general funds to be able to start the program, to start the program, we felt that it was prohibited if we try to use taxpayers' funds to be able to pay for private parties. We would be in violation of the anti-gift clause. I think we had an opportunity with the CARES funding to be able to do that type of program as it was available to do it. So I think we missed that opportunity. However, I am working with the Senator Kelly and Congressman Grijalva's staff in providing them information to try to show them what the impact has been on our businesses, to try to see if we can help them support that Border Business COVID Rescue Act. We have not heard anything back as of today, but we have been working closely with them. Tomorrow, Congressman Grijalva is going to have a webinar on the payment protection program that is focused on businesses with 20 employees or less. So we're going to continue to work with them. I think that's probably going to be the best solution. If there is any other federal funding that comes our way, that could be a possibility to start that program. But we feel that using our general funds, we would be in violation of the anti-gift clause. So we are looking at other options, which would be federal funding in the future. Now, since that same item, we presented the beautification program during that time. We thought that if we are not able to start the business program, we could definitely look at some other program. What is it that we can do? Public Works generously provided $100,000 for this program, and since we're not going to be able to use it, we thought that we give you some options on how to use that funding. So there's 3 options that we can do, and I think we have sufficient funding to do the 3 options. One is, during the last discussion, there was an item. We live in a community and we have a lot of sand. So we know that that is an issue community-wide, where we have all the roads that, there's a little bit of wind and some dust storms, and we have a lot of sand in the streets. So we looked up in some type of equipment. Eulogio will give you more details on it. But what this equipment would do is, like the communities where it snows, it kind of cleans up the streets. So we're looking at potentially purchasing that equipment. That would be one. The second item would be barriers. We know that there's specific areas in town that the sand gets so much that if we put some barriers, we could probably alleviate some of that. And the third item is some type of bicycle or multi-use pad along Cesar Chavez Boulevard between 1st and 2nd Avenue. I know we have a lot of the schools there and the kids using bicycles to get to school. We feel that those 3 projects could potentially help us throughout the community. The equipment, it's not a huge cost, but I think it would have a big impact in making sure that our streets are clean. It would definitely save up on the time of the staff going out there and trying to clean up the streets right after some of the storms. And again, I think the paths along Juan Sanchez Boulevard would definitely help when school starts to reopen. So I think what we're asking tonight is saying that we are not able to start the business program, but we do have some options for you to try to use that $100,000 and put it to good use. That would help our community, especially our kids and the residential and businesses as well. Eulogio's here so he can provide some more detailed information on the three options that we're providing to you. Again, I think we could potentially do the three projects within the funding that we have, or might need a little bit more, but I think we feel very comfortable in presenting that. So with that, I'd like to open it up for any questions that you might have on either the program or the options that we're providing to you.
Jenny, I have a quick question for you. When you can we do all three options with those 100,000, or are we picking just individually one that works for best for everyone?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. So 100,000 will not be enough to do all three of them, but
Okay.
it will do about 80% of it. So with the equipment we were looking at originally was sort of like a mini backhoe to do the cleanup in the East San Luis part of the town. But with more discussions with staff, I think we're sort of inclining to just doing a backhoe purchase, which would be almost the entire 100,000. But the other two options, maybe doing the multi-use path parallel to Cesar Chavez between 6th Avenue and 1st on the north side of Cesar Chavez. That will create a pathway, for pedestrians. We don't have sidewalk. Even if we do the intersection improvements that we're looking at completing, that still will not provide a continuous sidewalk from end to end. So we're really close. I mean, we might be within, maybe hopefully within a week or two from getting a right of entry from the State Land Department that would allow us to do this pathway that we have talked about for years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just the fact that we don't have sidewalks there. And then the other one, we'll be adding hay bales along County 23.5 or San Luis Lane. It's the same one on the north side to prevent the sand to reach the sidewalks. And we're looking at hay bales versus plastic barricades, just because our sun, rots the plastic barriers, and within a couple years, I mean, they'll be trash pretty much. The other option was concrete, but I don't like the concrete option. People can run into them, and it could be a fatality. So I definitely don't want to go that route.
Mayor, if I may, just to let you know that because of COVID, a lot of our capital projects were placed on hold. And in December, a lot of the projects, the funding was released so that we can pursue some of the projects. As you can imagine, based on time, and because what's happening in COVID, we're dealing with a lot of issues in our construction, with companies not even able to meet the deadlines that we have because you had some of the staff get COVID, they couldn't do the work. So we have a lot of those issues. What I'm saying here is that we have a lot of projects with funding allocated to them that are not going to be able to get done this fiscal year. So why not take a look at some of that funding and be able to put it into some good projects that we could do that could have, just like you mentioned, low-cost, high-impact projects that we can do this fiscal year and kind of push those other projects that are not able to get done this fiscal year, push them for next. Just as a suggestion.
Jenny, quick question. Can we legally do that?
I believe we can't. Just like, well, that's a legal question. I better not even step on my toes here. Okay, can we legally do that?
Yes, we just have to come back to council if it's not budgeted, and just move things around in the budget and come back to you with where we're getting the money from.
I think we did that. I think Louis did that with some of the purchase of equipment through the parks. I think he reallocated the funding to another budget and he brought it back to council and did it. I'm assuming that if he was able to do that, we could do the same here Monica's not here to answer that question, but I would assume that, oh, I'm sorry, you are here. Sorry.
Oh, by the way,
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Yes, definitely we can do that if we have approval from council. If we want to move it from one fund to another, we will need council approval, but if we get a formal council approval, yeah, definitely we can do that.
well, I recommend we do all three. I think we could find the funding, especially with the projects some of the projects that are not being finished because of COVID, unfortunately. People are still getting sick. So I like the idea. I like all three projects are necessary, especially the sand, the pathway, very important. And I think all three options that you delivered are low cost, high impact projects. Simple sidewalks, sidewalks are making an impact. And they actually did more impact than a lot of things that we've done over the years. So I myself would my opinion would be, let's fund all three of them and do all three of them. It's something that could be done quick, something that we could actually see it done this year, not like the big projects. And so that's my recommendation. I suggest we find the funding. If by using those 100,000 we can do 80%, well, let's find money for the other 20%, and make it efficient, make it a priority, and make it happen. I'm pretty sure staff have already looked at it and the possibilities of actually doing it. When you mention all three, my biggest issue is the sand. In La Avenida F, it's a big issue. Every time there's a little wind, right now there's a little wind, there's going to be sand on the streets. So I think with staff and with council's opinion, we can actually do all three of them. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for discussion, but I like all three options. Vice Mayor?
I didn't hear the fourth option where we could leave the money and finish the building, but no, I agree.
Ay, verás, tú verás, hey.
I was gonna ask, we can always leave the money, double work this year, but that pathway is also something that we've been fighting for since I got elected 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, that's good to start that, and then the machine the equipment, low cost, high impact, like you're saying, and yeah, Avenue F, those barriers will make a big difference. So I think we can find it. I like the idea.
Good deal. Luis Cabrera?
Yes, I think all three are very needed for the community, especially the sand here on Avenue F. Yes, it gets ugly pretty soon, and by the time the workers come and clean, a few hours go by and we're full of sand again. So yeah, this is going to alleviate a problem, and it's going to help, especially that machine. So thank you for looking into this, and I think we should move forward as well.
Good deal. Thank you, Luis. Gloria Torres, comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah, definitely. I agree, Mayor. Let's do it if we can. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Adelante.
Thank you. Gracias, Gloria. Africa Carrasco, comments, questions, concerns?
No, Mayor, I also agree. It's a great idea, so let's move forward.
Good deal. Thank you. Thank you, Africa. Marty Buchanan Jr.
None, Mayor. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Let's move forward. I mean, it's a good project for the community. It's very much needed.
Very good. So, staff, you've heard. Recommendation is to proceed with all three projects, and I want our financial director to do her magic and bring it to council as soon as possible, please.
Thank you.
No, gracias a ustedes. Thank you so much. Let's see here. We are going to item number 2B, discussion and possible direction to staff and all matters regarding the purchase of civic rec software for parks and recreation activities and facilities reservations. Angelica Rondan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Buenas tardes.
We are here to present Civic Rec, a recreation management software that provides a web portal where residents can register, reserve and easily purchase their services for themselves and for the entire family. This software is a web-based platform that provides a means for staff to publish, manage services related to reservations or facilities recreation classes, special events, manage services, community leagues, youth center, senior center, and more. Here are some of the features that this software offers. If we can go on page 3 and 4 on the attachment document. So these are some of the features that this software offers. As you can see, one of them is the facility reservations. This is something that our residents will have. We also have the activity registration. Our staff can quickly create programs, indicate flexible pricing, attach waivers and prompts, and assign instructors. They will have volunteer management. Obviously, we work directly with coaches and also with volunteers, so they will be able to register on this, and anytime we have any event or any leagues, they will be able to know. We have the point on sales, citizens dashboard management, membership management. This is something that we're doing directly with our youth center as well as our senior nutrition center. Now with the expansion, the idea is to have a check-in and check-out, so this software will provide that as well. We will have league management on page 4. Anytime we will have an event, for example, a concert, movie night, they will provide with ticketing, so they will be able to scan the code as well as the ticket. We will be able to do surveys, email, SMS blast. This is something that we really need in our department. We will be able to send out emails as well as text messages to all the residents. So anytime we have a cancellation for our leagues as well as any special events, any events in the city, not only Parks and Recreation, they will be able to know. We'll be able to do marketing brochures, group permission levels, reporting, financial accounting. It's a mobile-friendly software, hardware compatibility, functionality disclosure, and more. We have been meeting with all the departments. They're very supportive with us. For example, finance, IT, Domingo, legal, and the GIS technician. We got really good feedback from them, and we're still working with our IT department to look for the best payment integration option in order to implement the software and be compatible. The project cost will be $16,463 for 1 year, adding some of the integrations recommended by legal and other departments, such as the Audio Eye, which is an ADA compliant for visually impaired community members, and the GIS import, which is integrated with an SRIG account. For the next year, the cost will be only $7,800, and currently the funding is available for this year. On page 7, I can talk a little bit about the implementation process. If you see, the idea is to have implement this software by this fall to 2021, which is the months of October or November. So you can see on this slide the project kickoff materials. That will be phase 1. Phase 2, phase 3, which is facilities activity training, they will be providing training to our staff, and it will be an 8-hour training for our supervisors. Phase 4, client catalog build. Phase 5, which is the preparation, and we will be thinking to go live, which I said already, mentioned already, by October or November of this year. We believe this software will help our department become more efficient, and we want to give the opportunity to our residents to be able to register online. And the idea is to train them to learn how to register and to be able to have a kiosk. This is something that we were thinking about, have a kiosk outside our cultural center or any other facilities. So we will help them with the process of registration. In addition, we believe Civic Rec will be a great tool for our department, and we all agree that during the pandemic, we noticed this software will be a great tool and make it easier for our residents. We're the only city in the Yuma County that doesn't have a software for Parks and Recreation. Another thing to mention that is very important is that we are currently using Civic Plus for our city website. So Civic Plus is in the umbrella, and the branches are, Civic Rec is one of the branches. Some of the cities, just to mention, that are currently using this software is Oro Valley, Kingman, Douglas, Prescott, Chula Vista, and more. Staff would like to present this information to Mayor and Council for further directions and are open to any recommendations, suggestions you may have.
Okay, Angelica, I have a couple of questions. One, you mentioned, what does Somerton have? What kind of software do they use? You know?
In Somerton, when I was working there, we were using Red Desk. So that's one of the ideas when I came here to San Luis. I asked Louis, I think we need a software. So it was kind of like the same. So we were able to see that software as well. But currently, this software is the one that is offering more features, and the city is growing so fast. So this is so far the best software for our department.
Okay, my next question is, will IT be providing its security, or will they will be providing security for the software?
IT is being part of this project as well, so yes, they will be. We're working together with IT.
Okay, do we have the manpower in IT to actually take care of this program? Anyone from IT there?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Derek Dueñas, IT Manager. This is a completely hosted service from Civic Plus. They will be doing all the hosting. There won't be any servers on our end. The only thing that we will need to keep track of is just making sure that the integration with New World is there and that it's working properly.
Our multi-million-dollar software, is it compatible?
That's the final and the last step that we are currently working on, making sure that it is fully compatible before making, if council decides to move forward with this software. It will be first to make sure that it is compatible.
Has anyone, I mean, I thought New World was very, very popular among the cities in Arizona. Has anyone actually integrated, or are we going to be the first one to integrate it into New World?
So New World has its own software, but it wasn't something that staff recommended. We did test out different software, and Civic Rec was what had the most features that would be better for the city, and it is what Parks and Rec is recommending. We haven't checked if there are any other New World users or organizations that are using New World and Civic Rec.
Yeah, I mean, since we are talking to the company, Civic Rec, they should have record of any other city that actually uses New World also. My biggest concern is compatibility. It's an excellent program. Don't get me wrong, I am for this program. We need it. But I just want to make sure that we're spending all these thousands and thousands of dollars on New World. And the thing is, we want to make sure this is compatible with them. We can buy a really nice program, but at the end of the day, you're going to tell me it's not compatible. We're going to be stuck with two non-compatible programs. And that's my biggest concern. Supposedly, New World is compatible with a lot of programs. I just want to make sure this one is. I really like it. It's really good. But I just want to make sure it's compatible, because I don't want to see IT come back and say, oh, it's not compatible. Oh, we have to purchase a device or software that's worth 65,000 that's New World's requiring us to purchase. And we're like, that's my biggest concern regarding the compatibility of this with New World. I need to ask that question because the price, it's a little pricey, but if it's attainable, if it's workable, we definitely need to provide the service to our community because we are growing, as Angelica's mentioned. But I just want to make sure that we are compatible. I just want to make sure we're not going to be spending, and we're going to end up spending a lot more for more software, for more development through New World because of this project, because of the software. So food for thought. I just, those are the questions I had. I have no problem. And my next question is, do we have the funding for this?
Yes, Mayor, we currently have we met with our finance director, Monica, and we currently have the funding available for this year.
For this year. And how about next year? No problem?
Yeah.
A ver, Louis. Sorry, Angelica, this is the first time.
Fine.
Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Vice Mayor, Louis Galaviz, Parks and Recreation Director. So when we went with Finance Department, this year we have available funding to be able to move forward with this software. And we looked at the budget of what it would be, how much the cost would be to sustain it, because there is a yearly fee. And what we recommended and worked with finance is each division would give a percentage to help maintain and pay for this annually, which would break down to about $1,500 or so each division. And so we're committed to working our budget so we're able to sustain it. We think the software is definitely needed. It gives us more connection to our community relating to informing them about our activities, special events. And it does have, like Angelica mentioned, a lot of other capabilities for residents to be able to utilize with remodel rentals and facility rentals. So, and especially our leagues and informing them. So this has a lot of potential. Regarding the New World, there was, when we talked to the vendor, they did mention they have various options for New World. And so we're just confirming that with IT, just to make sure that, like you mentioned, Mayor, New World is a little different animal, so we want to make sure it's going to be compatible. What we've gotten from them is they're saying yes, but we want to make sure that we confirm that with IT.
Okay, very good. I just want to make sure that I'm pretty sure this company that sells the software has a module, has something else that we need to buy extra. I just want to make sure that the extra doesn't cost more than the software.
No, agreed, Mayor, and that's one of the things that, this has been about a 2-year process. Yeah. And so we've been meeting with billing, collections, finance, IT, getting everybody involved to make sure that this will be compatible so we can export and import any kind of financial data that they would need. And that was the important part, because on this, there's also the option where residents or individuals could pay through this model, through the software. So it gives them that option too. And so we met with billing and collection and making sure that that those payments would be tracked properly and be reported to finance.
Perfect. I like the idea. I am for the project as long as we know exactly what we're purchasing, and there's no extra 12,000, 15, or
Right.
55,000. Last time we had to buy something with 55,000, I believe. So no, that's good. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Angelica, and Derek. Thank you. I have no problem. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. I have no questions. I'm going to open the floor to Council. Vice Mayor.
Hey, Mayor. No questions. I got it, and good program. Good idea. Thank you, guys.
Good deal. Luis, any comments, questions? Cabrera?
I think this is a great platform for the citizens, and it's gonna head the right direction because I think we're a little behind with technology. So thank you for bringing this up, Louis and Angelica.
Thank you.
Gloria?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Mario Buchanan Jr.?
None, Mayor, no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Africa?
Just want to comment that it's a great idea. So let's go for it if it's compatible, like you mentioned, Mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, I have, okay, no one else. Yeah, I have no problem with the program. I think, at least you're right. I think we're behind times, and I think we need this program. And I just want to make sure that it's compatible, because there's a lot of programs out there that they're willing to sell, but you have to buy a bunch of extra stuff. I just want to make sure that the extra stuff is not going to cost more than the program. So we have homework, guys, and I believe the consensus was to proceed and make us proud, and let's get a program that works.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. We're going to go ahead with item number 2C, discussion and possible direction of staff in all matters regarding proposed ordinance number 414, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Luis, Arizona, amending, adding, renumbering section of the San Luis City Code in Chapter 94 titled Parks and Recreation under the subcharacter Tobacco Products to expand the prohibit the use of tobacco products beyond city parks to city open public spaces and designated areas to allow the use, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for sellability. Angelica Rondan, Assistant Director to Parks and Rec.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. On September 9, 2015, the San Luis City Council passed ordinance number 341 after discussion and consideration of a request by the youth of San Luis that tobacco products be banned from city parks and that city staff will determine designated areas for smoking. This ordinance spans the ban of the use of tobacco products to not just cities' parks, but all the city's open public spaces, except in designated areas determined by staff. Public open space is defined as all ground in which the city permits recreational use and are either owned or maintained by the city. Mayor and Council, we ask for your direction or recommendation.
So Angelica, you recommend that we actually expand this to all facilities?
Not all facilities. Well, if it's city open spaces, we only had it when we found out about this ordinance, we revised it, Lou and I, and we noticed it was just for one area, one of the parks, which is Pep Park. And that's why we decided to modify the ordinance.
Yeah, let me give you a little history on that ordinance. That ordinance was, this was a trial. This was we wanted to see, that's the reason why there was one park involved, was because we wanted to make sure that when no lawsuits, we make sure that no one else is going to fight us on it, and that's the reason why it was one park only. Yes, 2015, it's some time now, and there was no objections, there was no lawsuits, there was no smoker coalition trying to sue us or whatever, but I have no problem. But we need to define the public spaces. Public spaces meaning everything public. Say, okay, city parks to city open public spaces. Right-of-ways. Are we talking about right-of-ways? Are we talking about, we need to be very specific in this ordinance if we're gonna go citywide. According to this, we're going citywide.
Yes, good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. This would be designated areas that, like you mentioned, Mayor, pathways, the green spaces that we have, and the parks. Currently, there were signage in the different parks of no smoking or no tobacco use. So we were moving forward under that idea or thinking that was passed. But then when we looked into the ordinance, like Angelica mentioned, it was very specific. And so the other facilities had the signage and have had the signage for several years, even before my time, and I think it's been more than 6 or 7 years, and maybe since 2015, maybe. So we wanted to make sure, the other thing that we wanted to bring to your attention and so you could provide us some direction is when we have future pathways, do we want, people walking down the pathways using tobacco when people are exercising? So we can go back and define more if you'd like, but we would really be interested in what recommendations or considerations mayor and council would have for us.
Angelica Louie, I have no problem expanding it. It really is. We should expand it, and you shouldn't be exercising and smoking at the same time. Just food for thought, como dice la Africa. We should expand, but we need to make sure that the legal wording is correct. Legal, K, Glenn, make sure that the legal aspects are covered. We're talking about all facilities, everything that's owned right away, anything that's public access. So we need to clarify, a little clarification on that, but I believe this should happen. And I think we're ready. I think since 2015, the trial is over, and I think it's the right time and it's the right timing for it. So, and the designated areas for those smokers, and that's fine. So I have no problem. So those are my questions, concerns. So perfect.
Just
I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor to discussion to council. Vice Mayor?
None, Mayor.
Good deal. Luis Cabrera?
No, just a great catch. Thank you for bringing it up.
Good deal. Gloria Torres?
No, Mayor, no problem with me.
Thank you. Mario Buchanan Jr.?
None, Mayor.
Okay. Africa Luna Carrasco?
None, Mayor, thank you.
Perfect. Staff, Louis, Angelica, proceed. And just make sure it goes to legal. We make sure we define where exactly it's going. Is it just through parks and recs areas? Is it right away? Is it, we want to make sure that we're clearly on this one. We don't want to miss the boat. And I think we're going to be the first. I think we're going to be the first to do this. So we'll see.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Proceed.
you. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you. Let's see here. Item number 2D. Discussion and possible direction of staff and in all matters regarding an update on the status of current utility rates, infrastructure needs, and possible professional analysis for forecast utility rates to fund capital improvement projects. Okay, George.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of council. So I'm here again. As you mentioned on the item title, here to talk about utility rates and needs and infrastructure for water and wastewater. Just to give you a little bit of background on the topic, it is very common and customary for cities and towns to evaluate utility rates from every 5 to 10 years to make necessary adjustments in order to maintain and improve infrastructure across the city. Last review not review, but last increase that was done on utility rates, just to provide some information to some of you, was done in July 2017. Since then, utility rates have been the same, haven't moved. I'm here to request feedback and direction from council and mayor based on some, the growth that the city has been experiencing for the most part in residential areas. But lately, the city has also been getting interest from manufacturing companies and commercial and industrial areas as well, to the ones we don't, or the city doesn't have a rate established or a clear path or or method on how to move forward with needs and infrastructure for those type of businesses and customers for the utility. So I'm here. There are some capital improvements that are needed for the water and wastewater departments. I guess Public Works can expand a little bit more into those, but just to be brief on those, there's a need for expansion on both of the wastewater plants, and as well there's a need for a well site on East San Luis to increase water capacity. We don't have without the actual studies or designs on the projects, we don't have actual numbers for them, but rough estimated numbers are rounding from 14 million on the expansions on the wastewater plants and between 3 to 4 million on the increase in well sites. So the question here for council and asking for direction is if we should move forward with a new study on utility rates for the city to get a recommendation from a professional company on this topic.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, if I may add, one of the things that why we're here tonight also, and it's important that this study would bring to the table, is the industrial fee that we think it's important. I mean, that mainly would cover some significant, it would cover fees on significant demand that we currently don't have. I think our rate tables don't precisely cover that area. But recently, there's been interest in San Luis. We had none of them have really landed here in San Luis yet, but I think it's just a matter of time. The frequency on when these projects are being looked at by city staff it has become more and more often. But just so just to put it on the record, some of the projects that could potentially land, require as much water as the city uses right now in the winter, the entire city. And on the wastewater side, some of the projects have or could use up as much wastewater capacity as 4 times as what we have in East San Luis. So with this study, I think we will be looking at maybe making sure that the city has a tier or this fee for this industrial users that could eventually help better pay or better cover the expenses that the city would be undertaking in prepping for these bigger developments, or just making sure the city is protected as far as these charges or these fees.
Mr. Rivera, could you expand on the necessity, the infrastructure that's needed? Okay, well, let me ask you this technical question real quick. Where are we at right now with capacity in both wastewater? I mean, both waste treatment plants.
So for example, up till now, if we look at, not too long ago, several months back, we looked at the current capacity and where we're at with the wastewater treatment plants. So with the current growth, if we expand the East plant, we should be fine according to the recent study that was done by PACE, or one of our consultants, because we haven't had this huge developments land in San Luis. And when I say enough, we would have, with the expansion of the West plant, we would have more than 1 million gallons capacity excess here at the West plant, and we would have about 600,000 gallons per day capacity available in East San Luis, which would be sufficient to cover the current rate growth for another, I think, 10 years. That's what they said.
Yeah.
But when we have this curveball of this bigger developments being interested, that's when it becomes a matter of being ready with the expansion or the capacity there, or being ready with a plan to implement the design and a financial plan, how we're gonna be funding that expansion. And that's really one of those things that, I mean, that's not the intent, I think, of tonight's item, but that's something definitely that we wanna be ready for. I think the item tonight really is on the fee side. So for example, imagine, having one user using as much water as the entire city. We wanna make sure we have that rate schedule to be able to cover those users. And it's very similar on the wastewater side. I'm
When
not
you
sure if
mentioned that, when you say that, Mr. Vera, it also impacts the other industries also?
Well, that's sort of the peculiarity of doing this. Right now, we don't have this industrial users fee in our schedule. So when you start, let's say we just had to expand right now our wastewater treatment plant tomorrow. I mean, I don't think we would want to spread that expense on the residential users. So that's why it's critical that this industrial fee is focused on those users. I mean, why do I need to charge the residential users this huge expansion when really it's only really more focused on only those users that need that capacity? So I think that's the intent of this industrial users fee, and that's where these or consultants who are the specialists and the experts in this area, that they're the ones who help us establish that. And most big cities have those fees because they know they get those users that we don't have yet. But I think they're gonna be landing here soon.
Okay, yeah. I agree with you. I think we should plan ahead, but the problem with that is anytime you talk about rate hikes, it becomes a hot potato. But definitely, I have no objections to doing the study. And of course, every study tells you that you have to increase rates. I haven't seen one yet that says not to increase rates. And every time you mention increasing rates, not only to industry, we're also going to look at the infrastructure you mentioned, not just one particular infrastructure. We can't just decide it's just going to be the East plant, because if we're going to go ahead and we definitely need the rate study. How much would a rate study like that cost us right now? It used to cost us between, what is it, 60,000, 55,000?
Last time I checked, and it was this past year, almost towards the end of year 2020, we're looking at something between 15 and 20,000.
Okay, well, it's not that bad. I just want to clarify something, that just because we're doing a rate doesn't mean we're going to increase rates. Okay, this can be. I mean, I just want to make sure that yes, it is very smart for a community to look at rates and its needs. We are growing at a very high percentage, at a very high rate, and the thing is, we want to make sure that we can grow, and we want to make sure we can provide services, especially water, an essential service like water, to our residents. So I have no problem doing the rate study, but we need to be careful when you talk about rates. I just want to clarify. And so it's always a big issue. Always has been a big issue for many, many years. And so I have no problem doing the rates and seeing what are our needs. But we need to be realistic here, and how much can we afford, and how much we can expand. That was my question on capacity. How much can we grow before we have to really, we don't want to be in the crisis we were several years back. We don't want to be at a point where growth was stagnant or could not grow because our capacity was very limited. We're at a point where we are growing, we still have capacity. It gives us time. But you're right, these industries that are coming in, they take up a lot of water. But we also need to be careful what kind of investment we need to do. Is it worth only 100 jobs? Or are we going to get 1,000 jobs from it? So we need to explain to our residents why we're doing this investment and why we're doing this. Last time, it was basically a survival, the city's survival and expansion. We would have to stop all growth. We're not there yet, but we don't want to get there. But anytime we talk about rates, it has to be justifiable. If I'm going to pay more water, I want to know why I'm paying more water, not on assumption that pieces are going to come. No, we want something solid. That's what people are going to ask. This is just an assumption, and so it's hard enough as it is. So no, I agree. I have no problem with the rate study and actually looking at the infrastructure needs, but we need to be careful. It doesn't mean we're going to increase rates. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Vice Chair?
Well, Mayor, I think he makes a good point as well, that this is actually to try to protect us from increasing rates to the residents because we're focusing on industrial. I mean, the east side of town, the Port Authority is growing, the demand is coming. And I understand where the locals mentions that the study showed that we're good for 10 years, but I think what he's trying to say in a not scary way is, if our capacity right now is at 60% per se, and that takes us over for 10 years, but we get one user that needs 80%, that's where we're finding the issue at right now with users. We've had a lot of interest. You know, we had Lazy Boy come out here 2 years ago. We had a couple big companies this year that put San Luis on the radar of, you know, the lack of or the fear of running out of the water needs that they're going to need. They end up going to different site selections. So agreed, you know, we made the hard decision 5-6 years ago to do increases for residential. Now I think we need to focus on the industrial side and reiterate, we're not looking to raise residential rates and all this. We're looking to protect our residents by adding the infrastructure and making sure the right people are being charged for what needs to be done. So I'm for the study as well. And again, I'm 100% for this. We need it. Otherwise, the city can't grow and we can't provide that growth that the city needs.
Agree. Thank you. Ms. Carrera?
So then just to be clear, I do have a question. The increase in rates would be for businesses?
There's no guarantee on that.
So-
They're going to look at everything.
Just to answer to Mr. Cabrera's question, so like Mayor said, we're not increasing rates. This is merely a request for direction to proceed with a utility study, which will at the end evaluate the currently rates that we have, the infrastructure needs on the city, and this is a study that's going to be conducted for all customer classes. But the professional that is conducting the study will come up with a recommendation to mayor and council and staff, and it'll be up to the decision of mayor and council to either move forward with the recommendation or reject it, or apply part of it as council and mayor decides.
Thank you, George. Eulogio, do you get any funds from like the house permits for this type of infrastructure?
Okay, so yes, we do, we get impact fees, and the impact fees, we have water, wastewater, and roadways and within public works. And those funds are used to expand the infrastructure to maintain the level of service that we currently have. That's really the goals of the impact fees. But what we're talking here, I think that's also very important is, like for just an example. So I don't know, 95% of our meters are 3/4 inch meters in San Luis, or of our accounts. So we have a rate table for those, and then we have 1 inch, 1.5. So we have different sizes of meters, but then when we start getting this huge developments that might need a 12-inch line feeding them, or even a 16-inch line feeding them. I mean, we don't even have numbers to be able to, or special rates for those type of users. And that's where, this study would identify and set special rates for those huge users that shouldn't impact the residential rates or the smaller meter rates. So the one thing that from the impact fees through the building permits, is that those impact fees are just to maintain the same level of service. We can't use those to increase level of service.
Well, I think it's good then that we do the study. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Luis. For clarification, Mr. Vera, when we do impact fees, it's a one-time fee. So we cannot depend on one-time fees to sustain such expansion. I want to clarify that, Mr. Vera.
That is correct, Mayor.
Also, Mayor, if I may add to a comment for Luis for his FI, our impact fees are half what City of Yuma charges in most other communities in regards to a full permit. So I mean that shows a difference in what we collect to be able to maintain our system.
We're the lowest fees. We collect lowest fees, I believe, in the county. For clarification.
For a city, for cities, yes.
Yeah, for cities, yes. Gloria?
Yes, well, Mayor, I agree that we should have a study analysis for the professional to see what's coming on. And we know that city is growing faster, and we need that, and we can see. I'm agree with that.
Thank you, Gloria. Mario?
Yeah, also, Mayor, I'm good for the study. I think it's needed, you know, like it's recommended by Citizen Leads. So I'm all for it. Let's just talk about what we need to do from there on, you know, but it's only for a study, right?
Yes, it's only for a study, and we need to clarify that. Thank you, Mario. Africa?
Yes, Mayor, let's proceed with the study, but also can you remind me why we haven't raised impact fees if we're the lowest?
We voted on it, and it was, I believe it was 4-3 vote.
We did that last year, didn't we?
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Or was it a couple of years ago?
It was like a year or two ago. Elogio, when did we do that?
It wasn't that long ago. I know that, but I forgot.
2 years ago.
No, yeah, I think
The
it was 2 years
gist
ago
of
when
it.
it was done like 7 years ago, and I think like 2 years ago they were updated.
Yeah, it was 7 years ago. Yeah,
2013.
Oh, wow.
And the update was 2 years ago then. Okay,
It was
that's where we
updated.
changed it a
yeah.
little bit.
The updates, we did a study, if you guys don't remember, and they recommended we don't increase that much. Actually, the study was actually very positive. But then again, we weren't as big as them. I think we've grown close to 10,000 more since the study was done 2 years ago. But 7 years ago, the idea was we wanted to make sure that we were the more affordable place to build. While everyone was increasing their rates, their impact fees, we stayed, we wanted to be less than and more affordable. But more affordable means the problem is when you grow too fast, too quick, we need infrastructure expansion. And so it's a catch-22 on that one. So I'm not saying increase that. Don't even mention it. I'm not mentioning it. Pero, I believe the study will also will the study look into that also, Mr. Vera, George?
No, it will not, Mayor. It would just be on the rates. So the one thing to consider and just keep in mind on the impact fees, though they're not that simple to raise because you cannot increase level of service.
You have to go through a process to order to increase it now. The state now requires you to go through a process, and it's not easy anymore. So we had a chance to increase it, but we decided not to take that, and now it's a process. I know Glenn instructed us and gave us a big scenario on it, so it would be very difficult to increase it. Now we really have to justify why we're going to increase it. So, no, you're right. Thank you, Mr. Vera.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I just want to jump into that conversation. The impact fees were updated last year in December. They were finalized. You're right. They were not as high. They were very conservative. One point to mention is the study that we're proposing includes both commercial and residential. I think residential pretty much has to do with what Mr. Vera said. And the question that you asked, how soon, how much more longer do we have to withstand or to be able to provide services to our residents? This is a question I have been asking Eulogio. Based on the numbers that I was provided, I was told, well, we need $17 million to build the infrastructure. If that will be the case, I can say that we don't have that money right now. So definitely that we will have to look into other possibilities. Impact fees are not raised immediately. It takes time. But right now, Mr. Vera mentioned that it's possible that if we just build one well, we might be able to provide services to our residents. And all of these points are things that the study is going to be able to give us. But I think that all of us will look in answers, and we want to know for sure exactly what is that we need to continue providing the same service to our residents, and how soon do we need it. The information that I was provided was $17 million initially, and I said, okay, no, we're not going to be able to build that. We don't have the funds to do that. But I'm also eager to see what the study will bring to us. And there's 2 points, commercial and residential.
Yeah, okay. Well, the consensus was to proceed with the study, and we're only, for clarification, we're not talking about we're going to increase your rates. And I know industrial cannot provide those $17 million we need for expansion completely. So we cannot say it's just going to be industrial. And so I just want to make sure and clarify that we're very thorough and we get all the right information. And I'm also interested, like Monica goes, to see what are our needs and how can we proceed. So the consensus was to proceed and bring it to the table.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to add, just last point for your information, we're looking at a scope from 60 to 90 days on the completion of a study from the beginning of it. So we're going to get in touch with the multiple firms that can assist us with this project, and then at the end of the day, when it's completed, we'll bring it forward for your review and direction on it.
And George, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and go with 2E, update on any and all matters regarding commercial developments. Councilmember Africa Luna Carrasco and Jenny Torres, Economic Development Manager.
Yeah, Mayor, I think this item will come in handy with what we just talked about on the other items. And so basically, I'd just like to see if Jenny or whoever is there can provide an update on what new businesses are interested or have looked into the city to come, and just informational purposes for all of us to be aware.
Okay, good. Thank you, Africa.
Thank you, Councilmember Carrasco. Good evening, Jenny Torres, Economic Development Manager. First of all, thank you, Councilmember Carrasco, for allowing us to modify the wording on the agenda. Let me give you just a quick 101 economic development. The number one rule that we have is confidentiality. And as much as we want to try to parade and we get excited about potential projects, we try to keep it very confidential. Let me give you just 2 quick examples. One is, for example, an industrial facility. Let's say that an industrial company wants to come to San Luis, but they have a facility in California and they're relocating, and they're going to close that facility, and 100 people are going to lose their employees. They don't like to make that announcement until they're confirmed that they're coming here. So we're very careful about, dealing with that information. Commercial developments, we have some companies that they want to tell you who they are. They want to, provide all the information. They want to make it known that they're here. And there's some that they don't. They don't want to share information. They want to keep it quiet. And I usually try not to discuss a lot of the specific companies until they pull building permits, because that's when you know they're for real. That's when you know that they're coming. Because if they're going through the development process, even though it's public record, they could always pull plans out and say, yeah, we had a financial situation, we're not going to come in. So I try to be very, very careful, when we're talking about some commercial and industrial projects, just because we want to respect, the companies, and we also want to make sure that we keep a lot of the projects confidentiality. So a lot of the times that I come in and talk to you, I don't say a specific company, but I'll say food manufacturing, or I'll say a fast food chain restaurant. So I'll try to make my presentation based on that, and I'll give you a quick update. Joaquin is here for more of the details, but I'll go ahead and start. On the Walmart area, I think that was the main item. We're working with 2 retail companies, 2 fast food chains, and a financial institution. Now, again, we were looking at the Walmart pets. That's some of the areas that we're looking at. For that specific fast food chain that you were interested in knowing, they're going to submit building plans within a week. So hopefully we'll get some more information from them and some better news, when the construction starts. In terms of the hotel, we are going to be presenting that item back to you on March 24th. We had some changes, but we'll be able to provide you with more information at that council meeting. We did, due to COVID, we did had a lot of projects that were placed on hold. Some are being reevaluated, but what we did see is a lot of commercial renovations. For example, and I can say those names because those are building permits, and they have already pulled building permits. Like Chipilon, they added to their kitchen. La Bodega, they expanded their facilities. We have a fast food restaurant that is also making some changes to their drive-through. Walmart made some significant improvements, especially their pickup areas. The old Payless shoe store building has just completed the renovation. They're looking at some retail coming in. We had obviously the Chevron gas station. At the Rydell Plaza, we have Pizzas and Beer that have pulled the building permits for that. We had some school and some office renovations also throughout the city. On the East Central area, you've probably seen on Cesar Chavez Boulevard, the 24/7 GFIT gym that's under construction, and they have promoted a rehabilitation facility in that area as well. On the east part of town, we have the Medical Mall, which I believe is closer to completion, and hopefully we'll have a ribbon cutting celebration within the next month or so. In the San Luis Plaza Drive, we had a 3-phase multi-million-dollar mixed-use project, which was going to include a charter school, some executive office, medical dental office. That project was moving forward. They did promote it, excuse me, they did promote it at the site. I think that project will continue, but they took a step back right now because of COVID. In terms of industrial projects, we have a Spindle Cooling and Warehousing. It's a $4.5 million investment, 26,000 square feet facility. Is located at the Magrino Industrial Park. They will be providing warehouse and cooling facility for produce, and they are actually completed. We're scheduled to have a ribbon cutting celebration on March 24th. Labrie is also a manufacturing company who's investing $6 million. They're developing an 83,000 square feet facility as well in the Magrino Industrial Park. They manufacture solid waste equipment, and their facility is under construction. They had a very quick groundbreaking. It was just a photo shoot, but they're under construction. So that's just a little brief on some of the developments that are happening in terms of industrial, some commercial. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. Again, Joaquin is here in case there's any details on the processes. And we hope that were placed on hold.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so more of the Economic Development 101. So I know right now because of COVID, everything is kind of on a standstill, and I get that. But normally, like from you and your department, what do you guys do to recruit new businesses?
In terms of the commercial developments, we try to go, we have a yearly International Council of Shopping Centers. That's where you actually meet the companies, you know, and you schedule a meeting with them. They give you 15 minutes. You go in, you sit down with them, you talk about specific locations, you kind of sell your community within 15 minutes. That has been successful because we had companies come in to San Luis and take a look at several of the locations. Again, because of COVID, I think they were placed on hold, but that's one of the main ones. There's others that in terms of industrial, obviously, a lot of it is site selectors. For example, the presentation that we made in Michigan to Lazy Boy, the site selector really liked San Luis, and so we were able to at least attract another company that was interested in coming to San Luis because of those site selectors. GYEDC, we work with them, and they do a lot of the promotional for industrial. And kind of going back to commercial, a lot of it is, you know, just people, sometimes they're ready to come into San Luis, they see the growth, and they go give you a call, and they'll start asking for sites for some of their developments.
Thank you, Jenny. That's very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would greatly appreciate if in the future, I know Vice Mayor Matias has joined me. The previous Vice Mayor Cruz had joined me at this International Council Shopping Centers. Ralph has been with me throughout the 6 years, and it really gives you a sense of what it takes, because these companies will tell you exactly how it is. They would say, you know, you don't have the population, or you don't have the disposable income, or you won't have, they'll tell you what you're missing. And so I think that helps the council understand what we really go through when we're trying to recruit these businesses. So I'd be happy once COVID is over and we're able to travel again. I think that really helps if you're interested.
For sure, thank you.
Thank you, Africa. Great. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Before we proceed, I just have a question. Actually, Ralph, I totally had you written on a notepad here. I want your comment on this item and also the item regarding the study also. So I wanted to see your input also. I had a notepad here. I had your name next to it. And so if you can comment on both items,
sure.
Well, I'd really appreciate it.
All right, let's talk about the study first. I think at the stage where we're at as far as growth, Elugio and Jorge are on the right path. We need to study, we need to find out how the different rates penetrate our revenue. A lot of cities have a tiered structure. The more you use, the more you pay. And it's not right for a residential house to pay the same amount of sewage fees as an industrial user will. You know, the industrial users have a stronger discharge. They require different treatment before they discharge into the outgoing line. So this study will really dictate or demonstrate how we could or better structure our rates to have the commercial and industrial people pay accordingly. It's like a two-way street. One is, you know, utility rates and how do we keep going? How do we sustain our maintenance? And then the other lane is the impact fees will not pay for expansions. So how do we pay for expansions? And the problem is when we reach 80% capacity at the wastewater treatment plants, we have to demonstrate to EPA what the plan of action is, because we have to design and get permits, and it takes about 3 or 4 years to expand, to do a major expansion. You can't do it overnight. So this is like a growth issue that a lot of cities are facing, and we're not the only ones. Is that we need money to grow, we need money to pay for the capital improvements. We don't have the money. And then the rates, the utility rates are not going to pay for the expansion. So how do we resolve this issue? It's very complicated, but it can be done. But it's going to take a lot of determination and money. On the commercial, excuse me, I heard today we had a BTA Zoom meeting today, and I learned from one of the members in Texas, or two members in Texas, and it expands into Calexico and Arizona, that Mexico is not being very willing to open their borders to have their residents cross and do the shopping in the US. And that's to keep the Mexicans from buying in Mexico and not crossing and spending money in our country. And that's also affecting the port expansions, not only in San Luis, but in Otay Mesa, and then one other place in Texas. So Jenny is right. When we go to this job fairs, the shopping center conferences, they ream you, they interview you, they really dissect the city. You know, who makes, you know, your spending, your money availability, your traffic, your demographics, your competitors, the council makeup, the politics, the environment. It's really a big mix. And we've had some good fields and some good visits, but we just haven't connected. So I think just a matter of time. Hello?
Thank you, Ralph. I really appreciate it. And those are wise words, exactly. And one of the things that people don't realize that, thank you, Jenny, for everything your department does, and the vice mayor, you participating in, Ralph. We have had probably more people, more companies interested in the city of San Luis in the past 10 years than I can remember before. Before it was basically a hit or miss, and we're lucky if we got something. But now we're looking at companies that require a 25 million investment or require for us to invest. And those are big companies, those are big labels. And that just tells me where the city is heading. Before, the city of Yuma was getting all those, but now we're getting the attention. I think with the development of the Magrino Park, with all the construction that's going on, and our population growth, and the fact that we're one of the safer cities in Arizona still, that tells you a lot. And the fact that our politics have been, like you mentioned, Ralph, have been stable for the past, I would say 10 years, it makes a big impact. Companies do look at that. And I just want to say, we need to know, I know it's very limited, the information we get, Jenny, and I know we're here to protect the future companies. But sometimes I can go on Facebook and find out a lot of information. And I'm like, wait a minute here, what's going on? So we need to make sure that this information stays confidential. And either way, I mean, I'm not saying that it's coming from your department, but it can come from the developer themselves. And so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and we need to promote it when we can. We need to promote a business. When the business says it's okay to promote, we should promote it immediately, in my opinion. People need to know that we're not just fixing sidewalks, and we're actually looking for the employment. And so it's very important that our community, not only does council know, myself know, but it's very important that the community knows that we are working very hard, and that this is what's going on, and the traffic, the industrial traffic coming our way is increasing. And so, and once we get the expansion, we're going to get a lot more people crossing that border. And so if 8 million cross, or we used to be 9 million, close to 9 million people cross, we're going to try probably get the double the people crossing over. And Mexico is going to have limited resources in regards to trying to prevent us from buying stuff. Right now, we're facilitating or assisting Mexico in preventing Mexican citizens from coming over and purchasing in the United States in the name of COVID. So we are assisting Mexico. Mexico already saw the benefits of them not being able to cross and them forcing them, the residents, to buy in Mexico.
Exactly.
It's a fact. So we are facilitating, the federal government is facilitating that to occur. And that's one thing, we can say COVID all we want, but border towns are hurting. And when you hear the director of Homeland Security saying that there is no crisis in the border, that it's a complex situation, I have a problem with that. And so come visit the border, tell us what you see, and we'll see. But don't tell me it's not an emergency. Yes, it is. So no, thank you, Ralph, for those kind words. And Jenny, once again, thank your staff and thank you what you do. And Councilmember Africa, thank you for bringing it up. I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor, okay? Vice Mayor?
No, Mayor, it's just it's one of those, I guess you could call it also low impact, high cost. I mean, low impact, low cost, high impact, because I mean, we started going out to these conventions, what, Jenny, 10 years ago? I mean, if we're averaging and spending our budget to go every year, it's been 3,000, you know, it's been 30,000 that we spent in 10 years. But we were able to acquire Denny's. I mean, that's how we got Denny's. I mean, we met Jeff at one of these conventions and brought him over to San Luis, and he fell in love with the community and helped us bring in Denny's. And we've been working other businesses, you know, Panda Express and so forth, but they all have their reasons why they can't come yet. That is something that we need to continue forward and continue going. I mean, I kept going as a regular council member as well, just to support and continue that battle, because I think it's important for our community. So it's hard, especially when we do those 15 minutes and they ask us our population and our income average, and we show them the numbers. So hopefully with the census data that we get upcoming, that's going to help us, the little extra push that we need. But yeah, thank you. And hopefully this provides a good update for everybody.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Jenny, quick question. What happened to that study, that $50,000 study that we were supposed to do, that we were supposed to give us all that information? Did we ever do that $50,000 study, something like that?
No, we did not. We felt, you know, that type of study will probably bring you one. You know, I think Somerton paid $50,000. They brought Burger King, and they didn't renew it. They're very, very expensive. Ralph, I think you have more experience in working with those type of companies. We just kind of felt that we were almost there. You know, we're almost hitting that 50,000 population where we're not going to need those type of studies. We're going to get those companies knocking on our door. But yeah, we felt that maybe it wasn't the right time to invest, that we had enough leverage within our demographics, our being a border community, that we might be able to recruit businesses without the 50,000 study done. And a lot of it had to do also because they're not able to get the spending, the income from our Mexican shoppers, because it means a lot how much disposable income we have on the U.S. side. But if we can't get what Mexico is able to bring to the table, it kind of makes it a lot more difficult. But Ralph, please add anything you would like.
No, the only thing I would add is that study would have helped Yuma more than San Luis.
Most likely, yes.
Because we don't have the traffic. Well, we did have the traffic. We didn't have the population, so it was more geared towards North Somerton and South Yuma, really.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure, because I remember we were looking into it, and so I just want to make sure that when Jenny, the Vice Mayor, you, Ralph, go to the different locations where one looks for these conventions, that we have that information immediately. And like you said, Jenny, we do provide that information, but I wish we had that spending. But now that spending would be very limited. And so thank you, federal government. And so I know what you're doing. So no, thank you. Thank you, Ralph. Africa, comments?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Mario?
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Luis?
Yes, Jenny, I would like to be part of those meetings whenever you go back. So keep me in mind so we can get San Luis more businesses. And the $1 million question, when are we getting the Starbucks?
I will make sure that I include you in all future travel specifically for that. I can tell you that once we get Starbucks, everybody else will be coming to our doors. We just got to land Starbucks and everybody else will follow.
We're that close, huh, Jenny? We're that close. 7 years already. Almost.
Nice. I do want to bring something up, Jenny. Before I was a council member, I would see this young man. He promoted a lot of the businesses here locally on our Facebook page. I know it was around the 40th anniversary. I guess it's like you were like the 40th customer. You got like a free meal sponsored by like the restaurant itself. Or I'm not sure how it worked, but I thought that was really helpful for the local community businesses, because sometimes we don't know what the businesses offer. So I think having someone out there doing the videos like this young man was doing was alerting the community of everything that we have. So that might be something we might want to look at again. I'm not sure if it was from your department or somebody else, but I know it. I think it was producing a good response from the community, and that helps us have like knowledge of what businesses are out there as well as citizens. Because I was like, oh, I didn't even know like this, they had this or they had that, and throughout those videos I learned so much information.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Yes, we did it through our 40th anniversary. We had partnership with several of the departments. But what we're doing is we are reviving our marketing team, and that's going to be one of our focus to try to promote some of the local businesses. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
To add to that comment, Luis, I wish we had an active Chamber of Commerce like the City of Somerton and the City of Yuma. Unfortunately, we have no active Chamber of Commerce. Well, there is Yuma County, but would be nice to see a local chapter and promote our local businesses, because our business have so much to offer. So many new businesses have started that I understand that would be nice to know what they offered, or if they're open on Sundays. So that would be also a tool, but we definitely need a strong chamber, a local that focuses on local businesses. I know we can do Yuma County as a whole, but we also need a local to promote our local businesses, because there's a lot of things going on in San Luis. There's a lot of small businesses and the big businesses, and the thing is, and the city can only do so much. Jenny's department can only do so much, I can tell you right now. I've always insisted she needed another person, but for some reason our budget, I don't know. But we definitely, there's room for expansion, and that's where our local businesses get involved also. They need to invest in their community also, and it's a very affordable. If we had a very active Chamber of Commerce local chapter, for example, I think run by the businesses themselves, I think we would see a lot more benefits, and a lot more business will go that way. And advertising, in regards to advertising, it would be a very beneficial advertising for any local businesses. So there's only so much local government can do. I realize that, and I know But that's where we need local businesses involved also. So Jenny?
Yeah, Mayor, we had some businesses that have asked, why doesn't can the city start that process and bring those businesses together and then have them create the Chamber of Commerce, but under the city's just guidance so that they could be a standalone chamber? That question has been brought up to me, and I have not made a decision. I think it's a council decision how much you want us to start that process.
Thank you, Jenny. Let's see here. Gloria?
Yes, yes, thank you, Africa, for bringing up this issue. And thank you, Jenny, very good report, very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Mario?
No, Mayor, no questions. Very informational.
Thank you, thank you. Well, Jenny, thank you for that information. Gracias. And
Thank you.
I always say that you need an extra person, just to let you know.
I will make sure that city manager and our finance director present here can attest to that we do need another person. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, gracias.
Budget time, budget time.
That's why I said it. That's why I said it. Okay, let's see here. Now discussion on now matters regarding the City of San Luis fireworks ordinance. Africa and Chief Ángel Ramirez.
So Mayor, the intent of this item is to see if the city can do anything to regulate, not ban, but regulate the usage of fireworks within our city. And this came to me because of during the holiday season, there was a lot of fireworks around in my neighborhood. I don't know about your guys's, but it was loud and the pets got scared, and then the smell of the whole whatever they're made of, and we all know they can be dangerous and cause physical and damage to property. So this is the reason why I brought it up to you to see what can be done.
Okay, Chief.
This is Rick Bowerman. I kind of tasked him when I saw this item. I kind of tasked him to look into the ordinance. So,
Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council, Rick Bowerman, Fire Inspector. Looking at the state statutes, we are right in line. We are not allowed to be more restrictive than state, and the state statutes pretty much says that permissible consumer fireworks are only allowed. Anything other than that, like supervised public displays, those are by the professionals. We have it in our ordinance, no aerials, and I know that Yuma is the same way. Also in the statute, it says no fireworks permissible between the hours of 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So I don't know how we would be able to enforce that, especially on holidays. But aerials are definitely a big no-no.
Okay, Rick. So one, we can't be more strict than the state, and I know Walmart sells specific type of fireworks during 4th of July, and so but those are the ones that are legal, I believe. Correct me if I'm right.
Yes, sir. Those are the permissible consumer fireworks. Those are allowed, and they're only allowed to be sold certain dates. They're not allowed to be sold year-round.
Okay. Do we do any enforcement? I know people bring in from Mexico, and yes, Africa, I do hear them, and I've seen actually close to where, I mean, like a block away. I mean, the real high ones. I mean, the stuff that really are very bright, and I'm surprised that, I mean, I haven't seen anyone cited for it unless something has happened. Chief or anyone?
On the ones coming in from Mexico, I know customs do enforce them because they bring them over to us and we dispose of them. But how would we enforce them? I mean, Chief Jessup is here to talk a little bit more.
We have an ordinance.
Yeah, we do, and we can also go ahead, the difficult part of the enforcement is to find out where it's launched from. And so unless we have very specific witnesses or those types of things that are willing to get involved to say, hey, my neighbor is shooting off fireworks, they're going up in the air, and as Rick had mentioned, those are the ones that are the most enforceable simply because we can see them illuminated in the sky. It can be enforced from a state statute as well. And again, because the state statute does state that there is a quiet zone from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., anybody even setting off ground ones at that particular time can be enforced as well, and PD can take the enforcement action since it's criminal in nature.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Africa, did that answer that question, Africa?
Yes, no, and I know it's kind of hard to narrow it down unless like you see who launched them and all that, but it's just something that I wanted to bring up because I know not in San Luis, I didn't see it, but I know in like Yuma there was some damage done to some homes and due to fireworks. And another thing that I wanted to add, I know they can be brought in from Mexico, but then also from Winter Haven, they have the big fireworks. But yeah, you're right. It's hard to track it down.
And it may have even been, and it's a great comment, because it may have even been this year because of COVID-19 and most of the cities around the state were in restrictive measures as far as what fireworks displays the cities were going to do. I think more and more people brought their own fireworks to kind of have their own 4th of July and New Year's for that matter as well. So, you know, I know that it can be a little bit overwhelming, kind of wait to see what this year brings, but we certainly can do enforcement details and those types of things that may alleviate those, especially for those of you who live in the community, have neighborhoods that want to be relatively quiet. Phone call us and we can check it out because we can cite for it without any problem.
And then another thing that I was thinking is through like the fire department's PR and the city PR, we can just raise awareness. That might be something else that can be beneficial.
That's what we do. We can through our Facebook page or our Instagram page, we can let our PIO to put some words out to the community about what we can do, what we can regulate, but also we have it on our Facebook, on our city fire department page that we actually need to update, which we'll get with IT to do that.
And I think also from the PD perspective, I think that Lieutenant Santana also put what illegal fireworks were on our Facebook page as well, but we can do a campaign for it as well.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. Vice Mayor?
Well, I personally like fireworks, but I understand the safety and the control, and I think we've done pretty good in the past, and I agree with the chief that this past year, I think we saw more, and I myself noticed that we had more at the residential areas because of COVID. I mean, when people have an event to be at the park and they're not gonna be at home bored thinking about doing that for their kids. So I think after COVID or once we go back to semi-normal, we'll see that go down. I mean, I think a lot of the noise that we were hearing probably those Walmarts, I mean, those little packages are loud anyways. Some of those things are loud. But you had 10 of those in one block when before you only had 1 or 2. I think that makes a big difference as well. And I understand also Africa's concern. And again, unfortunately, if we only have 5, 6, 10 patrolmen patrolling those nights, I mean, it's tough to enforce a city of 35,000. But I think they're doing a great job. Just keep an eye on it and just make sure we inform the public, like you guys mentioned. Get the PIO out there, continue the Facebook and social media, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever everybody does nowadays. So yeah.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's see here, Luis?
No comments, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Africa, for bringing this up.
Thank you. Gloria?
No, thank you, Mayor, no comments.
Thank you. Mario?
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Africa, for bringing that topic up. And thank you, Chiefs. I appreciate it. Rick, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Now we're going to go with item number 2G, update on any and all matters regarding the reopening and recovery plan in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Councilmember Africa Luna Carrasco, Entonces la olla, City Administrator.
Yes, Mayor. So this item, so that we can get information as far as what the plan is of when we're going to fully open up all city functions. And also if we can get an update as to what departments are opening and to what capacity.
Okay. That's,
Mayor,
that's actually a very, very interesting question. I think a lot of communities, especially cities, are actually questioning when is it open. We've been very fortunate to have a dry spell in regards to the number of COVID positive patients. Me, for example, I haven't seen a positive patient for almost 3 weeks, so that's a good sign. But we've already had 3 waves already, and we want to make sure we don't call that it's over now, because it's not. And so it's actually the right time to be talking about this, because I think we're getting pretty close to opening, but I want to make sure that staff, I want to hear what the staff has to say, and we'll comment more. And I think it's very important we all are on the same page, and I know City of Somerton is doing their chair and they're opening their city hall, but we need to be very cautious. So Maria, you're going to mention something, please?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Council. Maria Sabori, Risk Management. I will be presenting about the actions or protocols that have been set in place currently by the city to help reduce the exposure of COVID-19 and to help us continue with providing essential services to our customers. The City of San Luis places a high priority on on the health and safety of our employees as well as the public to ensure we have a safe and healthy workplace. We have developed a COVID-19 guidelines for City of San Luis employees following the CDC resuming business toolkit. Supervisors, managers, and employees have all been made responsible for implementing this plan. Our goal has been to mitigate the potential of transmission for COVID-19 in the workplace and community. And that has required full cooperation among our workers, management, and customers. Current COVID guidelines established follow the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Arizona Department of Health guidelines, the federal OSHA standards related to COVID, and the City of San Luis Executive Order 20-48 and the City Manager's Executive Order 20-2001. Some of the guidelines that have been currently set in place are as follows. Plexiglass or glass windows have been installed at front office customer service counters as well as in areas where there is employee and customer contact. Flexible working schedules such as staggered schedules as well as working remotely from home have been implemented to help with social distancing as well as with reduction of employee exposure. We have made accessible for employees and customers disinfecting and sanitary supplies and PPE. Employees are required to self-monitor for symptoms as well as take their own temperatures each day at the beginning of their work shift. An HR policy has been established reflecting steps to take when positive for COVID or around a person who has tested positive for COVID. Also, flexible COVID leave policies and practices have been established by our HR department. City Hall entrance doors have remained locked, and personnel has been posted by the entrance door to greet and screen customers, as well as making sure that they are wearing their face masks before entering the building. We also have made available face masks for those customers that do not have one. A limit of 10 people max in City Hall lobby has been placed to help social distancing and exposure reduction. Social distancing floor markers have been placed at city buildings where customers are assisted. Online training on coronavirus awareness, bloodborne pathogens, and personal protective equipment has been made available for all city personnel via our online Safe Personnel training portal. Face mask coverings have been made mandatory for employees and customers. For employees, a face mask covering is not required if they're working alone at their workstation without a high risk of airborne hazard, and which have physical barrier of more than 6 feet from the next workstation, or when driving alone in a city vehicle while on duty. We have established a cleaning disinfecting plan with the help of our facilities division. We have also implemented the practice of regularly cleaning and disinfecting surfaces, equipment, and other elements of work environment. We have encouraged and promoted respiratory etiquette. For high-risk employees, a plan has been set to support and encourage telework, as well as working staggered schedules. Signs have been posted in all city buildings for both employees and customers, such as practicing social distancing, mask requirements, CDC information on stopping the spread, as well as COVID latest symptoms information. The city minimized non-essential travel for employees, and any business travel request goes through our city manager's review for approval. We have increased and prioritized the use of technology and video conferencing for meeting gatherings, events, or trainings to help the reduction of exposure. If video conferencing or teleconferencing is not possible, we have implemented following the CDC guidelines on group gatherings. Also, for ventilation, per our facilities, AC filters are being changed twice a month. I also would like to share exposure information. We had a total of 28 COVID positive related respiratory exposures, which were reported to the OSHA 300 report. We had 28 with a total of 398 days away from work for these exposures or COVID positive. I checked with HR, and we had about 75 positive cases, which had to do with personal exposure. Also, currently, we have made available the vaccine, COVID vaccine for public safety personnel, facilities, and public works. At this moment, we haven't made available for the rest of the employees because we're still in the initial phases of the vaccine. And Kay will help us present with the statistics on COVID.
I have a PowerPoint. I'm not sure who's in control. Am I in control? So I can. Okay. Okay. So the legal environment is pretty skimpy for city employers. Things changed a little bit when Biden came in. He made the CDC guidelines, OSHA guidelines, and in his first executive order after the inauguration, he gave OSHA until March 12th to determine whether to make mask wearing in the workplace mandatory. There's nothing at the state level that regulates city employers, and then we do have a city proclamation for mandatory face masks, and that's really it. And then, so the risk environment. This was from yesterday, and I checked today, and it's pretty much the same. This, I always skip down to the graphs on the daily updates because that really gives us more information than the daily death count, which is too depressing. But so on the graphs, even though we have a very nice downward trajectory, this is the graph for schools to reopen. The county health is still recommending virtual only for schools. And then the other graph is this more dramatic one where we're really going down for the metrics for businesses like gyms and bars. And again, even though we're in the yellow, they're still recommending to follow the guidelines for substantial transmission. And, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't even, that's the trouble with masks, you can't feel your face. Okay, if you could go ahead and do the online, are you able to do that? Well,
So, Kay, could we reopen, just follow all the guidelines? Is that what you're saying? As long as everybody has their mask and we disinfect and all those other measures that the CDC recommends, could we open up the city functions?
Legally, we can. However, it's also a liability risk not to follow what the state and county public health are recommending. So
what is their recommendation?
So they don't have a recommendation like they do for schools and businesses like bars. So my recommendation is, for liability reasons, is to check with the Yuma County Public Health as to, can we do more than we're doing now? Can we open more? What exactly should we be doing? And Maria tried to get that answer, but the person she was in contact with wasn't in today, but he was going to get back to her. I did want to show you these metrics that I like from COVID Act Now. They're saying that we're in medium risk at this point for Yuma County. The daily cases have been on a downward trend. If you go down the screen, keep going. Keep going. That's it also good because Yuma was at the top of the chart for most density of cases, and now we've moved down. But keep going. Keep going. There. This is the cases per population chart, and you can see we had 2 big waves. The biggest spike was in December. We had another one in January, and we've been on a downward trend since January. And we just barely got into that yellow this week. Keep going down. we've been doing well with, this is the infection rate, this is how many people went in person, the average number of people that went in person who is infected infects. And you want to be in the green, you want to be less than 1, and we've been doing fairly well on that metrics. So we're where we should be, we're in the low and we're going down, so that's a good one. Go down. This one, positive test rate, we've been really bad throughout the whole pandemic on this. It's an indication of insufficient testing if it's in the higher regions. And depending on which public health you consult, I think in Arizona it's 10% is what they're saying is a good one. But CDC is more like 5%, and then the World Health Organization is 2%. And we're just barely getting out of the 10%. We're going down, but it's been kind of, I don't know, it's been kind of unstable. It's been going up and down all of February. And one more, I think. This is really encouraging. The hospitalizations have been going down a lot. This indicates that if there's another surge, we have enough capacity in our hospital. And statewide, the hospitalizations are at 90%. That, you know, that's how many beds are being used. So we're getting there, but it's still like medium risk, and we just barely got into it at the beginning of this month. And then vaccines, you may have heard the news. Just yesterday, they are expanding vaccination to people 55 and older, and all adults in congregate living. So that's it for the website there. Yeah, go back to that PowerPoint. There we go. And so this is my last slide. So like I said earlier, I think it would be best to seek local public health expert advice as to how we reopen. That's the only way to be able to know where we're at in the pandemic, how safe it is to expand reopening.
Okay, can I comment? I was listening, I was looking at your slides, and the thing is, even Yuma County Public Health Services does not know.
Yeah.
No one knows exactly when is the safest time to open up. I've been looking at the trends, and the trend looks good. But if you look at the chart you showed the 3 slides before, regarding the up and down,
Yeah.
we're not over COVID. And
No.
I just want to make sure that people understand that once you get vaccinated, doesn't mean you cannot get COVID. I want to be clarified, and it doesn't mean you can't transmit it, COVID also. People are under the misconception that just because you get vaccinated, you can't get COVID. Yes, you can get COVID, but the odds are you're going to get a really mild case. But do you remember when we first started the pandemic, people were saying, the government was telling, oh, the vast majority of people are going to get mild cases? Well, they got more serious than before.
Yeah.
So this misconception that the vaccine is going to protect you 100%, it's not. People still get sick from it. You can still get very sick from COVID, and you can still spread it. There's not enough information out there to say that, like for example, the chickenpox vaccine, the smallpox vaccine, actually those prevent you from spreading it, not the COVID one. There's not enough evidence to say that, let's say, for example, we vaccinate 80% of our employees, they can still get COVID, they still need to be isolated for 14 days because they can't spread it to healthy non-people who either decided not to take the COVID vaccine. So, but it's a good start. Now, when you showed the trends, there are 2 mutant strains coming our way. Let me inform the public. When the UK, the Brazilian is heading us our way through Guatemala, Mexico, it's heading our way. The mutant from South Africa is coming from New York. And it normally takes about 2 months to get here. Their rates are going down, and they were exposed to the African mutant. And there's question if the vaccine protects you against those. There's no definite answer. So the key thing is we need to continue vaccination. The key is we need to vaccinate the vast majority. 80% of our employees need to be vaccinated. I think we should emphasize, we should actually spend some resources to get our employees vaccinated. And for those who don't want to be vaccinated, well, we can't force you. But vaccination is a good start, but it's not the complete answer. COVID is here to stay. It's going to be here for a while. My biggest concern is the South African strain and the Brazilian strain that are going to hit us hard. And the thing is, the good news is we're not going to have big gatherings like Thanksgiving. We're not going to have big gatherings like Christmas and New Year's. Father's Day, Mother's Day are pretty far away, but we are going to have 4th of July. We are going to have the car expo, hopefully. And in regards to what you said, Kay, there is an executive order that prevents you from having more than 50 people in an event?
Yes.
Is it still in effect?
Yes,
Okay.
and CDC is recommending with our level of transmission that we should only have 25 and only outdoors.
25, exactly. I was going to correct you on that one. There is a restriction that prevents us from opening, for example, the parks. I've been the soccer players, the baseball players saying, why are the bars open and they have more than 50 people and we can't practice in our fields? And I try to tell them that there are certain restrictions and bars were allowed to open. And so there are some restrictions, Kate. I need to correct that, okay?
Yes.
So, and there is no specific guidelines to open a city. No, there isn't. But we need to look at the trend also. Our job, our duty is to provide the essential services needed to run a city, like water, trash, police, fire. We need to keep our employees safe. Those are the essential. It is our responsibility to keep them open. But if you open it completely, you expose them, and all it takes is one person to affect 5 people, and there goes our water system. We only have one person that has, I believe, all the 4 certifications to run the city. If he's gone, we need to shut down our water. So if he gets sick, guess what? We can't run a city. We can't run our water. And so that's the biggest risk, and that's the biggest risk cities are actually looking into. What are the risks involved? But I do believe we're close to opening it up. I just want to make sure we're not going to get it hit as hard as we did before because we don't have those big gatherings. But COVID is still alive. Let me tell you, for example, for the past 3 weeks, I haven't seen a COVID patient. Just today, 4 individuals turned positive. Okay, so I hope it's a fluke. I hope it just happened. But COVID is out there, and the thing is, we need to vaccinate our population, and we need to vaccinate especially our employees. We should be looking at markers. We should be looking at what's going on. The trend looks good. People believe it's over. It is not over. It is not over. We're not immune. And just because you got a vaccine doesn't mean you're not going to get it. Let me be very clear. We don't know much about COVID yet. And those trends that you saw that we're in those trends again. But there's a strong possibility we might go up again. No one
Even Yuma County, even the state is saying we're not going to get another wave because it's on its way, unfortunately. So we need to be prepared. We need to be proactive. Let me remind everyone, we were the first to close the city. We were the first. And the thing is, just because Somerton or Yuma decided to, let's remember when we had 900 positives and Somerton had 3,000. There was a reason for that. Okay? So we need to be careful, but yet at the same time, we need to make sure that we're offering the services to our community. That's our responsibility. But our employee health is also our responsibility. We need to make sure that we have healthy employees, but yet employees need to make sure that they stay healthy also. It's not a vacation. You need to be available. You need to be ready because people are asking, people are saying, why aren't all the employees there? But we're there to protect them. We're there to protect our services. But we need to make sure we need to follow the trends and actually keep an eye. We cannot depend on Yuma County Public Health Department. We cannot depend on the federal government to tell us because what they see is what they've gone through already. It hasn't hit the wave that hit New York, for example. They're going down, but that wave is coming this way. And we need to be very clear that this is not over yet. And if you think because you had COVID already, let me tell you something, 70%, at least 70 or more percent of the population have not been exposed to COVID. And that's a huge number. How many have we vaccinated? Probably 14% of the US population. How many people have we vaccinated in San Luis? Probably 2 or 3% of the population. Those are the number of vaccines available to us yet. So we need to be very careful in what we do. We have an obligation to protect, but at the same time, we have an obligation to provide the essential services. And we want to make sure that we are providing those essential services and we are accessible. COVID should not be an example, an excuse for not providing services. We're here to serve our community. It's very important, but yet we need to remain healthy and we need to make sure to provide those services. So I just wanted to make sure we need to be very, very careful. But at the same time, we need to look at those numbers. I was thinking maybe in 4 weeks, I think if we continue this trend, we should open up a little bit more. But that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. And this is coming from a guy who treats it and actually gone through it. So I'm going to open up to the floor.
One other statistics, we haven't been at this level of transmission since October. So, you know, if it gets out of hand, it takes a long time to come back down.
Yes. And those charts Kate you showed exactly the trend that's happened twice already. And so let's hope it stays. But the odds are we're not vaccinating fast enough. And the thing is, we need, right now, we're getting too comfortable. I'm seeing people not wear a mask anymore because they got a vaccine. Let me be very, very clear. You can still get it and you can still give it to someone else. Okay, so misconception.
Mayor, can I add a comment?
Yes, please.
Just to your point that you said that that COVID is not an excuse for the city not to offer the services to our community. I just want to stress that because I have received a lot of complaints from community members across the board for various departments, not just one particular, in that they haven't been able to, for whatever they were dealing with that specific department, they had trouble getting their business done because either there wasn't the person they needed there or whatever the case might be. But just to, because I understand that health is priority, but also let's not forget what we're here for.
Exactly. No, and I agree with you. And the thing is, if you're an employee, if you're a servant, public servant, for example, it is your duty to make sure that we treat our customers and we give them as long as we're safe, we have to remain safe, but we need to provide the proper service to our community. That's priority. That's also a priority along with health, okay? as an employee, it is your responsibility that if a customer comes in or asks you a question, not to answer as, I'm sorry, we can't do this because of COVID. No, let me help you. How can I help you? Should be your answer. And the thing is, I know you've done a great job, but but because of COVID, because of the situation right now, we need to be extra. We need to do extra for our customer service. And I agree with you, Africa. And the thing is, our customers, we want to make sure that they feel that their needs are being provided. Okay, so thank you, Africa. Appreciate that comment.
Mayor, Ralph, I have a question. How can we get all the employees vaccinated?
I'm working on it, Ralph. I am working on that one. And because I know the city of Somerton, there's only a couple that haven't been vaccinated. I need to find out exactly what's going on, because if they were able to, but then again, their employees are half of we have. We're a big company, and so
that was my next question.
Yeah, we need to find out exactly what can we do to vaccinate our employees, because how can we provide a service to our employees if we're falling sick? And I know everyone right now, Ralph, everyone is looking for vaccines. And the thing is, in 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to lower the age to 45. And that's a lot of employees, of our employees, that actually qualify for that. So if we can get those vaccines to every 45-year-old or 55-year-old right now, it'll be a good thing. So we're working on it, Ralph. We are definitely working on it.
Yeah, Mayor, because Yuma County provided vaccines to all their employees, and they're probably way more than we are. So yeah, let's look into that, definitely.
Well, Yuma County controls basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Mayor,
That's how I got my shot.
Yes.
Just a comment. We've had a total of 90 employees vaccinated, so we're looking at like 280 employees right now. So that's where we're at, about 90, and those are first responders and frontline.
Okay, let's focus on trying to get us more. So let's all use our resources and try to get the vaccines. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine should be coming out. Pfizer is helping the production of the Johnson & Johnson one dose vaccine. And it can be just refrigerated, and it's on its way. I believe a local person will be getting some, but it's going to be for a very specific number, so it's going to be hard to get. But soon, I would say within a month, we should be seeing the Johnson & Johnson vaccine being offered here in Yuma County and in San Luis. That's our goal. And once that occurs, it's going to be better because it's storage. So let's try our best. And if someone hears of a source, let's talk about it. Let's make contact. Tadeo, let's use our resources. So let's try to find the vaccinations for our employees. The sooner we can all get vaccinated, the sooner we can get herd immunity, the sooner we wear less masks, the sooner we get closer to a somewhat normal without masks. So for now, 80% of the population is our goal. So we're far away from it, but we can get closer very quick, very fast. So kudos to you, Africa, for bringing this topic up. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. Vice Mayor.
Hey, Mayor. I agree with you guys as well. I think our responsibility is to the employees. We got to make sure that everyone's safe. I also think a lot of it is also the way we present our services to the community, because a lot of people, when they hear that, when we say the word closed, they assume the city hall is fully closed. I mean, the doors are open. We're partially staffed. Kay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to use you as a guinea pig since you're there by the mic. Every department is staggering, or maybe Tadeo, every department is staggering their employees to make sure that someone's always there, correct? Like, for example, Kay, you have a department of what, 3 or 2?
3.
3. And I'm assuming between you and your other 2 department personnel, you guys come in and certain days and everyone has some separation.
Correct.
Yes,
Cor-
and I
Correct.
can do just, everything I do is mostly internal.
Yeah.
And so I'm
So,
able to work at home.
yeah, so
most
see,
days.
that's why I'm getting at that. As long as we make sure we let the community know, you know what, we're limited our services, but we're open. Yes, the parks are closed, but the employees are working. They're staggering. I do agree, like the mayor stated in Africa, we have to start working towards the future to open it up again. But once we get more employees vaccinated, I think we should start figuring out the logistics on getting fully open. But let's protect our employees first. Let's continue the alternate in the departments. You know, if there's 5 employees, 3, I don't know, my understanding you guys are doing it off days or something like that, right, Pedro?
Yes, you're correct, Vice Mayor. And
So, and then just keep in mind, I've gotten a few complaints, not that many, out of the normal that you normally get. We're in a busy season right now for our winter season. Construction's high, everything's high. And, you know, with the limited services, we are going to hear people complain about something not being done, but it's pretty normal. I think staff is doing a great job. And as long as they're doing their job and everything and staying safe, what I would not like to see is staff, I know we can't control personal stuff, but if staff is alternating, but then you see them on Facebook and they're at a party with 100 people there, that's also not the point of this. If we're offering this is to protect you and your family and make sure that you're not abusing it after hours as well during your work hours. So that's pretty much all I have to comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Matias. Let's see here. Luis?
Tadeo, have department heads approached you regarding wanting to have more employees on site, like on a daily?
no, they have not. I've for the last couple of months or more, I've been getting their schedules. I asked for their schedules to know, but no, none of them have approached me to have more staff on hand. No. And pretty much the decision as to how each department is managed, it has been left up to department heads. I was gonna comment this at the end, but when you get Councilmember Luna or Vice Mayor, when you get a complaint, it'd be nice if you forward that to me so I can address that with that particular department. This is the first time I hear that there are several complaints about the service, because even when we were literally closed, we were still providing services and given everything that we were able to do with the resources, and given how the pandemic was being handled at the moment. And once we opened, we've had employees here. But again, if there are concerns, it'd be nice to know so I can address them with those particular department heads. But it has been the department head's decision to schedule their own departments.
Thank you. So I know we have staggered schedules. But the small tour I took from the city, I mean, the only place that I saw where there was more people working together was the fire department and the police station. The administration office is where I saw more people gathered, but they were all following social distancing. So is there like any other places that like employees have to share the same office, or, I mean, because as long as, because I know the other cities are open, then as long as they have their face masks, they're disinfecting, they're cleaning after each other. I've been working at the school for the past 4 months, and all of us that have been working, we've been following the guidelines, and none of us have been infected so far. So we take care of each other in school premises. So are there like we're all in our classrooms, we have a few students. Do you guys have like places where you guys share the same office, like more than 3 people are together?
We try not to. However, there are certain areas such as IT, HR, the building inspectors, buildings and collections that are not socially distanced, from one another, at least 6 feet. And the thing, for a month, we've been trying to get more vaccines to us. I know schools and educators were part of that first phase, but we have not been able to get more vaccines. But those are areas that come to mind when where social distance would not be respected, if all the employees were to be sitting at the same time there, because their cubicles are right next to each other, or their computers.
Because I know, yeah, most of them have cubicles and they don't share cubicles, which is good. But I had to go to the court the other day, and it was very interesting to see 4 people working in the same small office. So I don't know how the schedules are done for the court, but I think the city needs to have employees back, even though we're not fully open, as in like parks and all that stuff. But if we were to remain the same for another 4 weeks or 2-3 months, do employees have remote access to work from home, or how are they working from home?
Yes, they were provided 3 months into the pandemic by Derek, accesses and tools to be able to work from home and or from their cell phone if need be. And also they are, when not here, they're on call. So if they need to come in, they're compelled. They can call them and they need to come in. But yes, they have the resources, the online resources to work from home. There's been a couple that didn't know for some reason that they could do that, but yes, they are able to work from home.
So could you describe what those resources are? Like,
Derek? Those are technical. Derek can answer better than I can.
Thank you.
Good evening, council member. So what we have implemented when we started with the pandemic, it's a remote desktop service. Pretty much everything that you have or that we have access here in City Hall, you can access it from your home.
Perfect. What about, because I know I've also had a few complaints, and if we are, like, if someone is calling like a specific number, are they transferred to like, because I know we use Go to Connect, and we have access to, I can pick up my cell phone, my classroom line from my cell phone or my computer. So is that something we have as well available for employees, or?
Yes, and employees can forward their calls from their extension into their cell phone. That is one option, and I think what most of us are using is remote desktop with a 2-factor authentication for extra security.
Also, our voicemails go to our cell phones.
Voicemails they do go to email.
Email, perfect.
Yeah.
And then I do have another question. If we were to come back and I know, well, there was an executive order now that schools have to open and by March 15th or spring break, something like that. If I'm a parent of 3 and I have a child who doesn't have daycare, can I take time off from work? How much time can I take off if we were to request everyone to come back? And I think that's more for Edgar from HR. Like,
yeah.
What can employees, like, how are employees covered if they need the time off because they don't have daycare or they don't have childcare available?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. My name is Edgar Carvajal. I'm the currently acting HR director for the office. As far as your question goes, council member, we are currently following the same protocol or the same process as the emergency paid sick leave when it comes to employees who are feeling either symptoms that are COVID related, either they're taking care of somebody who may be experiencing or came out positive, or even the scenario that you depicted. We're still following the same administrative process within the city for employees.
So they would be able to like take time off and still come back whenever or is there like 5-week time period, or how does that work?
That's how it's set on the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. We're following the same amount of time that is required.
Okay. I think it would be good to have employees back, and that's just my personal opinion, as long as everyone is taking care of each other. I know a lot of us are back on campus, talking from the teacher perspective. And like I said, like as long as we all take care of each other, then there shouldn't be a lot of contagious cases or a lot of stuff going around. Like Ms. Awadi mentioned, they're changing filters, or they have masks available for staff or for citizens. So, but that's just my personal opinion. But it would be interesting to revisit this in a few weeks, see how the numbers go. I mean, I've been tracking the numbers, and luckily we have been getting very low positive cases and those numbers are for entire Yuma County. So I'm assuming the numbers for the city of San Luis are even lower as well. So, but let's see what happens. I'm okay with whatever council decides. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Luis. Gloria?
Yes, Mayor. This is my personal opinion, with all my respect for all the employees. But I think there is at the time that city will open with the proper protocol. I have, like Africa says, there's complaints that having in the community regarding if the office is closed, or they don't answer the phone and things like that. And I know a committee has been open since May of last year, and having all the protocols. They have all the having all the things that they needed to be held in the office. And I'm the oldest person in my work, and they decided that I had to be working from home, and they connect me my computer to work. And let me tell you that I work 50% of my I have to do in home than I do 100% I work. I know that it is hard, and with all the care that have to be, I need it. I already called. I called. I don't know, a month ago. I called City Hall of Somerton. One of the council person told me that they have been working all the time. All is not open to the public, but all the employees has been working, and they open it like if they needed an appointment or something like that. But they have been working all the city of Somerton. So for myself, I think it is time that we should open the city hall. This is my opinion.
And if I may add to Gloria's comment, I know City of Yuma that has way more employees than us. They're working fully staffed as well. I think as long as we're following the protocol and like I said, everyone is taking care of each other, there shouldn't be no reason we can't come back.
Yes.
To comment on that, Luis, the fact is the highest number of people infected came from Yuma, and a very high number in fact came from Somerton. We were able to control our numbers by keeping those restrictions. And I trust me, I hear you. And it's very important that if there's a complaint, they put it in writing and file it, because it's very important. I hear a lot of comments all the time. It's complaints. So it's very important, if they have a comment or they have a complaint, we need to write it down and we need to take care of it. If staff is not doing their job, then we definitely need to clarify that. If a department is not doing their job and they're using COVID as an excuse, we definitely have to deal with it directly. Because one, we're here to serve the community. And you should be, if anything, you're going to be hit with the wave when it gets here, because your numbers are going to go up. You say you protect each other, but the thing is, once the students come in, it's a whole different story.
And the thing is, I normally see it coming from schools. And the thing is, so it's very good that the numbers have been down, but you're going to be hit first before anything else. So when students come in full force, and this March 15 executive order gets in, you're going to see a spike in numbers, and it's going to happen. It's because COVID is not gone. So we need to be careful. We need to take care of ourselves. We provide a service to our community, and if we're not providing that service, we need to make sure it's our responsibility that service get met. COVID or not, we need to provide a service, but we need to protect the employees also. So I hear you. If you're for me, I mean, if we had everyone vaccinated, I would say go for it. I have no problem with it. So we need to work on protocols. We need to make sure that they're established, and you make sure that our employees are healthy. But first and foremost, we need to make sure that we provide those services to our community. So if you hear in writing, if someone complains, have them write up. There's this person complaining about the parks. Okay, well, please have it in writing. We need to have it in writing. So, or send us a message, or send us a text, or comment. And it's very important we make a note of that. So, I hear you. And
I think that makes a big difference, Mayor. Like Luis mentioned and Gloria, Somerton got fully vaccinated. They gave the option to the employees to get vaccinated. They got vaccinated. Yuma, the same thing. If they offered it to their employees, we haven't had that choice to offer to our employees yet. I think once we have that vaccination for our employees and say, okay, who wants to get the shot? If someone doesn't, that 20%, that was their choice, and that changes the whole mentality in regards to the liability and also protecting our employees. School districts have got the shots, most of them. I'm not sure if Gaston got it already or not, but educators, you're mentioning City of Yuma, all these people that are open, they've offered that to their employees already. We're still pending that. I think that's the biggest difference with us. And again, Somerton's not open to the public, but they're fully staffed. They got their shots. We're open to the public and working halfway. So it's a little bit of every angle that you view it. So it's just be safe, and no one wants to see anyone get hurt or be in the hospital or anything.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. Marty Buchanan, comment?
Yes, Mayor. I see the issue here. I mean, yes, everyone wants to go back. We want to be reinstated. We want to be normal. But it's in our hands to take care of our employees. You know, the executive order given by Governor Ducey, going back to school. I mean, that's his opinion. But us as a city and as a mayor and council, we will decide for our employees to be in a good, safe environment. It's for the sake of our employees. Yes, I want everything to be just normal, like a few of our council members want. Yes, but I know that it's better for us to take care of a situation where we have a complaint from a citizen. We can take care of that individual, but we cannot take care of a whole community, a whole city of a shutdown. That's the problem there. Yes, I don't want to go back to work either. I would like to be safe at home, but that's another issue with the grocery business. But it's in my hands, in my power to take care of our employees. It's for the best of their sake, and we got to take care of them. Why? Because they also have to take care of their families at home. Okay, so we have to have a city running, and that's what we do. That's what we're here for. That's my personal opinion. Don't get me wrong. Yes, but I would like to go back to normal when it's time to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Africa, those were excellent topics, and I thank you for them. And one thing we need to continue is, one, we definitely need to get the vaccinations for our employees. The city of Yuma was able to do it. The city of Somerton was able to do it. And we're not as big as Yuma, but we've vaccinated over 90 plus employees, so that's a good thing. So we're still pending. So that gives us what, 49%, no, not even 49, 42, 32 or something like that percent. So we need to work on that. So let's talk to the county. I will talk to my contacts in the state, and hopefully we can get the vaccination for our employees. And the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can actually reopen. But I just want to make sure that the employees feel safe. And for those who don't want to get vaccinated, you have that right. But then again, you decided not to vaccinate yourself, so you are exposed. But let it be your option, not the city option. We can't force you. But it is a good idea, and you will be. But we can force you to wear an N95. We can force you to wear the proper PPE if you're going to be in contact with the public. But we cannot force you to vaccinate. So, definitely we can put restrictions on the type of mask you wear. You're not going to wear a regular mask. If you're not going to be vaccinated, you're going to be wearing not the regular mask, but most likely an N95, because one, you are basically creating a situation where if you get sick, you can get other people sick. So let's work on it. This topic is not going to be forgotten, and we need to, I think we need to readdress this in a couple of weeks and see where we're at. I think in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, we should notice a trend. If it's going to go up, the trend should show up. But if we continue with the trend going down, that's a very good sign. But knowing this virus, it's going to come back. And the thing is, but it's going to be less. It's going to be more of a steady state. It's going to be steady, and it's not going to be as a spike we saw before, like in Christmas and Thanksgiving. So we need to be careful, and we need to emphasize our employees need to be vaccinated. Everyone. And the thing is, the more people we vaccinate, especially in our community, we need to also vaccinate our seniors in our senior centers. Constantly, if there's complaints coming from someone, it's going to be our seniors. They want to go back. So, so hopefully, we want to make sure that we get the vaccines, and hopefully Walmart, our local Walmart, can start vaccinating for COVID also. That would be a good idea. And so, because I know CVS and the other pharmacies, Walgreens, are vaccinating for COVID. Albertsons is vaccinating for COVID. So it would be nice if we got COVID vaccines here at Walmart. Just food for thought, please. If you can ask them what's going on with that. So let's continue working hard, and we're not gonna definitely be looking. We definitely need to be looking at the trends, and I do that every day. So let's continue working. And for those employees who are working, it's very important you provide the service our community needs, but at the same time protecting your fellow employee next to you and yourself. So thank you. I guess no more questions. Ralph, any thoughts?
No, it's a long haul, but we'll take care of it.
Yeah, it is, Ralph, and we'll take care of it. When you least expect it, we'll be open, and everyone should be vaccinated, and hopefully this nightmare goes away. Thank you, Africa. Thank you for once again. Thank you for those. And we're going to go ahead, and that was our last topic of discussion. We're going to go ahead, and I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
So move.
There's a motion. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Have a good night, guys. Please stay safe, please. Okay, take care, guys.